It's insecurity that is always chasing you and standing in the way of your dreams. I shaved my head about 15 years ago, and the first time I shaved it, I started running my hand through my hair, and it was very therapeutic. You get the timeless cool card in New York. We all deal with being unfairly judged. A transvestite spends her entire life trying to look as feminine as possible, and I have clearly spent mine celebrating my masculinity. My mother gave me this book called Feature Films at Used Car Prices by a guy named Rick Schmidt. I gotta credit the guy, 'cause he gave me the most practical advice. It empowers you. My mom used to say that I became a fighter and a scrapper and a tough guy to protect who I am at my core. I used to feel guilty about owning the console. If it's an amazing role, I'll do anything. You break her heart, I'll break your neck. The one thing I will never do is become pigeonholed. Well, love motivates me in everything I do. I don't think a lot of actors talk about it, but there's usually a process where you essentially purge yourself of the character that you played prior to the movie. That's the first thing. You want to do it. I'm not really afraid of the dark, except if I'm walking. The thing that scares me the most is the possibility of walking into a wall and busting my lip. If you had asked me back in grade school what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have said my first choice was an actor, but if I couldn't be that, I'd want to be a superhero. When you go to the movies with your whole family, it's a different experience. For some reason, it's something that you're all doing together, and you take away something special in that. I have dangerous bones in my body. I'm the most ambitious person you ever met. My mom insisted on multigrain bread and never allowed soda in the house. The thing I'm scared of most is not fulfilling my work. There's so much anxiety around trying to get a movie made that you don't really get to be afraid of anything else. The man who raised me is black. Culturally, he made me who I am. He was a theater director, so he also guided me artistically. I grew up with all kinds of people. It wasn't until I went to college and I got my first motorcycle that I understood the thrill of speed. The whole year I was in LA, I got into telemarketing and learned how to make money. 5 years later, that skill helped me make my first film. I am truly multiracial. I never knew my biological father. I've always had less information than I would have liked to have had. All I know from my mother is that I have connections to many different cultures. Most of my confidence came from being with ladies. because I certainly wasn't getting any acting jobs. With age, you get to a place where you don't want to knock people out. You just want to give people a hug. The only way anyone knows which girl I'm with is if a one-night stand goes on Howard Stern. The video game culture was an important thing to keep alive in the film because we're in a new era right now. The idea that kids can play video games like Grand Theft Auto or any video game is amazing. The video games are one step before a whole other virtual universe. I try to create an environment where, when we step onto the set, we're all in character. I always have issues with trust. I'm a New Yorker. Really, I think trust is something that comes from the gut. And I think you have too. It's probably the worst advice to give people, but I think you gotta trust people from your gut. A day with my kids is the best day. It's like you have a child and you think, everything that I've done up until this point is insignificant in comparison to being a father. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love women more than anything. I am flattered that they think that many people would enjoy my work. I don't approach any genre a different way than I may approach another one. I treat every role I do like a role worthy of applying whatever kind of tactic, process and talent I have. The person in my position has to restrain himself. My mother is the most supportive mother in the world. She's magical. You live these 3 months in this reality, in this dark reality. You don't want to do those films every year because they're taxing. I started smoking a lot of cigarettes. It would be flattering to call it modern Dirty Harry, but I think this film deals more with the loss of his wife than the traditional revenge vigilante films.